and welcome to Verve Podcast for You. I am your host, Cheryl Smith, CEO of Confident Living Solutions, where we help unlock your confidence, your creativity, and your joy. We know that words bring life and or death. We know that words have power. So what we want to do is take those words that we sometimes use negatively and transform them into words that bring life, into words that uplift, inspire, and expand. So tune in to the Live Show podcast. Details are below. Again, I am your host, Cheryl Smith, Confident Living Solutions, where we unlock your confidence, your creativity, and your joy. Good evening, and welcome to Verve Podcast for Youth. Good evening. How's everybody today? Good. Glad to have you on. Today with us, we have our guest. We have Miss Miranda Barber, who has 15 years in education. She's an entrepreneur and the owner of My Beautiful Wildflower, an all-natural body and bath products. And we will talk about that a little later. And also we have with us our guest, Mr. Tyrone Brown, who is the Live Show podcast himself. Welcome. So everybody's doing okay today?
Yeah. Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long week, and the week is not even over yet, but one more day to go.
Absolutely.
One more day to go. So we're going to dive into our word for today. And the word that came to mind to me was the word respect. Respect. And we know that respect means to have a sense of admiration, to hold someone in esteem, and consideration of something, someone, or something. Do you think we still do that today? Do you think we still have high respect for people and things? Do you think we still that's kind of seen today?
Well, I'll let Miranda start off because always ladies first. I'm a gentleman.
Yeah, I really do. No, I do not.
Why not?
I have two sons. My oldest son is 20 and my youngest is 15. And I love my boys. And we have conversations like this all the time. And they get mad at me and call me old, because every day it's a new slang word that pops up, right? And this, of course, keeps me in a loop with my students. So I have to know what's going on in the world. So,
right.
And most of the slang words that they use are words that we had growing up that they done changed the meaning. And I'm like, that is not what that means. So we laugh and joke, and they say, that's not what. I said, look, you can't change something that I grew up saying, and now it has a completely different. I sound crazy, And, I believe respect is one of those words, It no longer means how you defined it and you admire a person to a degree. Now, to me, people use it as a synonym for submission. So this is why they want it, but they don't want to give it. And that's not what it means. If I respect you, that I am not beneath you. If I respect you, I am not blindly going along with any and everything that you say, think, or do. But that is the interpretation. And I think that's where a lot of people come into conflict with when they demand respect, but they're not giving it.
Wow. So I will piggyback on that. It is definitely, as Miranda said, that that it is used as a term of submission, but it's also I think a lot of the older, um, people have it uh, in their 40s, 40s and on up, maybe, late 30s. But for the most part, it's not used in the world. The respect, the real definition, the real term, it's not appreciated in this day and time. So I give respect, but I also, as a human being, I want respect as well. That's it's a give and a take, and so that's my term on it.
Yeah, 'cause that's the difference in when we always talk about earning it, giving it and earning it. And nowadays, from what I see, especially amongst younger people, the younger generation, like you were saying, Amanda, that their term is totally different for respect. They scream a lot of times. You hear them respect, 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 but they're not giving respect.
Yeah.
But they always want somebody to respect them, and they don't understand that you have to first earn it, you
Yeah.
know, and you have to give respect as
Yeah.
opposed to always hollering, they're not respecting me. And I'm saying to myself, at that age, do you really even understand and know what respect is really all about? That it goes both ways,
Sure does.
and I think some of them are, not all of them, of course, but some of them are, kind of missing the boat on that a little bit, because they don't understand that with the respect, you have to acknowledge people's differences.
Mhm.
You know, we have to accept those differences and acknowledge people for who they are. And, different people, they're different beliefs, they're different cultures, they're different backgrounds, how they feel about things. So I think they get caught up in not understanding that people are different and they can still be respected and be different. You know, I think they kind of get caught up in that, and then they don't want to listen. Listening, active listening is a form of respect. I mean, I see them all the time. You're trying to talk, even adults, when you're talking to them, sometimes they're either on the this, and they're texting and stuff like that. I mean, whatever happened to that type of respect when people are having a conversation? The eye to eye contact and stuff like that. You know, I don't see that a lot anymore either when it
Well,
comes
what
to.
does that mean? What does that mean today? Because, you know, um, even about differences, because you look at there's so many differences in the world, with age, with culture, with the way people dress,
Mhm.
with the way, people marry, with the way they date. So much is different, especially from the way I grew up. I'm a little past 40 now, and so I look at the world, and it's not the same as when I was a kid. It's
Mm-mm.
not the same. People, especially the younger generation. You disrespecting me. You don't give me my respect. Well,
Exactly.
I would have to say, or I would have to ask, did you give respect in order to because if you don't give it, then of course you don't earn the respect, or you don't earn the trust to begin the process of respect. So in that, you're going to have a lot of differences, because
Mhm.
that respect word, the definition has been lost in translation.
Right. Because respect it's also tied to behavior. And that's what I don't see. Respect is a form of behavior, treating others with respect, and respect is often like a reflection of their morals and values,
Mhm.
of who they are.
Right.
You know, it's a part of that behavior, and they don't understand that when you're being disrespectful, that's saying a lot about you. Like you said, coming up, I remember coming up, a form of our respect was, as a young person, it's better to be seen and not heard.
That's good.
You know,
Mhm.
my mother used to always tell me it's best for you to stay in the child's place, Young person's place is better to be seen than not heard. And that was a form of respect, for me, back in those days. And like you said, but with different cultures, different cultures have different form of respect. Like, the Japanese culture, they're humble and they're about being polite and dealing with hierarchy, stuff like that, So different cultures also, like he was saying, bring about, different forms of respect that we have to understand when we're, working with people, dealing with people. And like you said, trust. Respect builds trust. Respect is closely tied to trust. When we have respect for others and the other way they have for us, we tend to trust people more.
We got old school in this conversation. I said we got a lot of old school in this conversation.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm like Mr. Brown. He said he's a little over 40. I'm a little way over 40, but yes,
I'm Mr. Brown around that age.
So, yeah. So we took those things that our parents and grandparents said, and we dealt with them. I mean, we were afraid not to. We were afraid.
And nowadays, some of those things that we came up with are considered to be toxic.
Yeah.
So we working with this generation that, millennials are the most educated population right now in the United States. And so we're working with a lot of children of millennials. These are really smart kids who have privileges and emotional abilities that we didn't have, and definitions and different terms that describe their lives that I was taught, all the traumas I experienced, just keep it pushing. Like, what is all this conversation and crying and therapy and what? No, you need to get back to work. You don't have time. Okay.
Right.
And you keep it moving. And so now that's considered toxic,
Right.
So we're working with all these, we're like in this in between, where we got all this new stuff going on, new verbiage and new behaviors, and it's a challenge to keep up with. But as far as the respect thing, I'm a firm believer in you can't give anyone something that you haven't been able to give yourself first.
Right.
So I believe the confusion comes in that where these people are disrespecting themselves, and then they're expecting other people to respect them.
Right.
And so if I clearly see you disrespecting yourself, and then you're ready to fight because I'm not respecting you, that's not the way respect works. Because if I respect myself and you're not respecting me, I'll walk away. Because you're not worth my time, energy, or effort at that point. I'm not going to fight you or yell and scream, you need to respect me, because you're confused. Now this person is confused. You don't respect yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
because yourself is taking care of yourself first.
Right.
Not demanding somebody else to take care of you or affirm you or provide for you.
Yeah, because self-respect it's a foundation for personal growth and well-being. Like I said, you have to have that self-respect first. Because if I see you not respecting yourself, then what I think of you, the standards are lower. Most cases, because I see you not respecting yourself.
Right.
So how do you expect for me to perceive you, to look at you?
Well, it goes that way. Even in relationships, or the beginning of relationships, to start. When you see a person, and I know everybody's trying to express themselves and whatnot, but the way you dress, that is a form of respect.
Yes.
When you have respect for yourself, then other people have no problem with respecting you. Because when I get it as a man, the men in this day and time, the women and the men, the way that they react and the way that they respond to the opposite sex and to the same, it's really different from when I grew up. When I was growing up, women didn't not they didn't dress as as
Provocative.
provocative.
as often.
They didn't.
Not
The only time that they would dress provocatively is if they were in the house with their man or with their significant other. The only time they would really, expose themselves is when they were, trying to get their man, not somebody else's, but their man. And so I know that this day and time has changed, and a lot of our younger generation, they don't agree, and I get it to some extent. But if you want people to respect you, then you have to first start with the person that you look at in the mirror.
Exactly,
And
because
when
you're gonna attract, just the way you dress. You're gonna attract that, and that's and that's something you don't want as a young lady. Even with these young men with the pants
Yeah,
down, that's to me that's
correct,
a form of disrespect. Nobody wants to see that.
correct,
Back in the day, that would never happen.
right.
Back in the day.
because these young, well, because now it's like people are more free in the
Yeah,
sense that they're able to express themselves how they see fit, which I don't think is anything wrong with that.
right.
And because we shouldn't be judgmental. But the problem comes in when people don't understand that there's a time and a place for it. There's a place
Right.
where you could wear 2 leaves or 3 leaves and you're gonna be the hottest thing in the room, and then there's a place where it's so uncomfortable if you're not covered up. And
Right.
it's people who just don't feel that they don't understand that, and they just think they should just be able to go anywhere all the time however they want, which you can. But now what you'll see is somebody is recording you and posting it on social media and
Right.
Mm,
And that's another thing. So speaking of that, boundaries, you like I said, you can do what you want to do. Like I said, nobody's trying to be judgmental. You can do what you want to do, but there's boundaries, and that's another form of just showing respect for other people. If I come, if I want to be appropriate, when people look at you, they perceive you as I said earlier, some kind of way. And
yes,
even like I said, social media, social media is everybody's on it.
yeah,
But there is the etiquette, there is the respect that you really should have for social media, because that stuff does not go away. It
right,
does not go away. And so you have to be careful. You have to respect it.
yeah,
You have to set boundaries with that. You have to respect, because that will come back to haunt you. Just like social media, even in the workplace,
yeah.
respect authority. you know, uh, what happened to sometimes respecting authority? Even some of my young people, they have a total disrespect for authority.
Absolutely.
You
Well,
know,
even in that respect, um, I often get involved because, again, I work at a place where younger people work, and they want to be taught to the right way, but then the way that they come off, you're like, oh my God, but you want respect. You want to receive what you don't give, and
right,
that's really lopsided. you know and I get it. Again, I'm old school. But and I get that times change, and people change, but one thing that never changes, and that is humanity. you
Absolutely.
know One-to-one relationships, it never changes. And
right.
so we have to have those, as you said, Cheryl, those boundaries. When you set boundaries, those should be respected, and you should never break them.
Right. And what they don't understand, respect is nothing but good old fashioned good manners. Just being polite and good manners. If you show good manners, if you give it, it come back to you. And people embrace you more.
Yeah.
You just have plain old good manners. Like we did back in the day, when you come into a room, you speak, you know what I mean? Just manners. People watch and notice all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I notice when people come into a room, I'm like, how do you come into a room and just don't speak? And I understand sometimes things be on your mind, stuff like that. We all have those kind of moments, but typically, how do you just enter a place and don't speak? I mean, to me, that's showing some form of disrespect. How do you not acknowledge that?
Not just coming into a place. Just let's start with the basics. To come into a person's house and not speak to them. Like my children have, friends. And if you walk in my house and don't speak to me, guess what? I'm going to escort your tail right on back to the door until you speak. Because I feel that is disrespectful.
Right.
But, we got a whole new system of parenting these days, and people don't see it as disrespectful anymore.
Yeah.
But it is.
One of the one I find myself repeating quite often in the classroom is it's a lot of explaining why I shouldn't match your energy, because it's a term going around. Oh, I'm gonna match your energy. I'm gonna match your energy, and I spend so much of my time with my students saying, if that energy is beneath you, why would you match it?
Right.
Now, if this is who you are, hey, match away. It'll be entertaining. That's why housewives make millions of dollars. That's, hey, do you, okay? But if that's not who you are, do not match that person's energy. For example, we talk about relationships and they say, oh, somebody cheat on me, I'm going to key their car. And these are seventh graders talking about keying people's car and like they ready for adulthood. They ready to be toxic right away. I said, okay, so if somebody cheat on you, why don't you just leave?
Right.
Why would you stay? Why would you stay with someone who doesn't value you and respect you? Someone who's lying to you and manipulate. Why would you stay? Because you see all these people matching and you're going to get revenge. But you know what? It's not even worth it.
Right.
Because once you do that, once you commit revenge, now you are just the same type of low life as the
you are.
Right.
that committed that injustice against you.
Yeah.
Right.
And if that's not who you are, then you should not be doing it, because guess what? We live in a small town and stuff will travel through the grapevine. You may have had a better partner waiting on you to get rid of this fool that you was with. He may have been waiting, or she may have been waiting, but now that you're toxic, they want nothing to do with you, because now you're toxic too.
But you know what? There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
That's right.
This has been preached and talked about when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Young people and young people do crazy things. I think we've all kind of been there a little bit. Just do crazy things, and we learn, to change that behavior. We learn, some type of fear or something should set in sooner or later.
Yeah.
Like in speaking relationships, do you think that youth or just people in general, especially youth, are they more likely to seek friends that are like them, or that treat them with kindness? Because sometimes they can pick friends that, I'm like, why would you pick, that's not your friend. First of all, that's a whole nother Verve word that we'll discuss at another time, friendship. But a lot of them, when they're dealing with relationships, they gravitate to people sometimes that are not like them. Why would you gravitate to somebody that don't respect your boundaries? They don't value you as an individual.
They're not choosing.
They don't respect you.
They're not choosing. It's just like a free for all. They call themselves dating, and in 3 days, they talk for 3 days and they already got a boyfriend or girlfriend. I tell them all the time, I say, you don't know if they shoot squirrels on the weekend.
Hello.
but even with
they move way too fast, and they're not vetting their friends and their partners. And that's
because even with girl relationships with friends, I've talked to them in the school too about, well, that's my friend. How are you choosing? Where's the respect? Because if they're doing this to you, that's my best friend. But if they're doing that, disrespecting you, how is that your friend? Like I said, friendship is another topic we'll get into. But, we get to learn to actually choose wisely, of people that, when it comes to respect, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to respect myself, I don't want to be around you and you're disrespecting me. And if you're disrespecting yourself, because, it's not always true that birds of a feather flock together. That's not always true, but in some cases, it can be.
It can.
It can be.
Yeah.
So,
I'll say this. In today's society, it's all about acceptance, and
right.
people are just they just want to be accepted. Because just think about it. When we were kids, we went outside and played. Now they don't know what that's about. All they do is they'll go outside and go to the store, but they don't hang out with the girl next door. They don't hang out with the guy across the street. And if they do, they getting into some trouble. They don't know what it is to build relationships. And
Right.
so it's all about acceptance today.
Yeah. And respect helps with it's crucial with resolving conflicts, because it helps them to be constructive and have peaceful resolutions, if you can respect each other, because that's if you got some stuff going on, some conflicts, if we respect each other, we can resolve those type of conflicts.
And if I respect myself at certain lines, I'm not going to cross during that conversation.
Right.
So,
right.
like, I refuse to raise my voice. If we in a conversation, if I'm in a conversation with anyone and somebody starts raising their voice, I'm not matching your energy. I'm walking away. If we can't have a civil conversation and use our vocabulary, there's nothing else for us to talk about. And that's because I respect myself and my time.
Right.
But you see people going back and forth. See, I'm not doing that because I respect myself.
Right. And that goes back to what you were saying, Mr. Brown. That is about human dignity. It's human dignity. So what we're going to do, we're going to end on that note, on human dignity, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about human dignity. We want to be treated, fairly. We want to be treated, based regardless of our backgrounds and beliefs. We still want to be treated fairly, and we need to treat others the way that we want to be treated, with respect.
Yeah.
And that goes right back to just plain old being polite and having good, clean manners.
Yep.
That's what we want to do. So I want to thank you all for joining.
Absolutely.
This evening. Great topic. And of course, we will have you all back on. We have some more things in store. But great topic. But I wanted, Miss Barbara, you say you're an entrepreneur. Give us where can we find out about your bath and body products?
I make handmade all natural bath and body products, and you can find me at mybeautifulwildflower.com.
All right. Okay, so you all have it, mybeautifulwildflower.com. And of course, we have Mr. Brown on the Life Show Podcast Network. So I thank you again. I thank the audience. And we'll see you in 2 weeks with another Verve word.
Yes, sir.